Hey, let's add some more content into our sheet, and then we're going to be sharing the contents of the sheet to others. So within the cells, when you select the cells, if you have a cell such as A1, you can drag it, and this will automatically populate using the smart population that Google Sheets has. So it automatically try to populate the content. If there's no clear pattern, then what it will do is when you drag it, it will just duplicate the content as is. So this gives us some content to work with. I'll also update this, and if we set it to something like 3, there's actually going to be a pattern that it's going to assume that the one above it is going to be 2, the one below it is going to be 4, 5, 6. So that way you can create your own type of pattern and have Google automatically generate the pattern within the cells. And this is a really nice way that you can easily populate some content into your sheets. And we're going to be showing you more ways that you can use this format where you're populating content in the upcoming lesson. So that way we've got a nice range of content within our testing sheet. So we've populated the content from cells A to D, and that's within the columns A to D, and then the cells numerically 1 to 10. So what happens if we want to share this content? So there's a number of ways to share the content, and depending on how you want to share the content, if you want others to be able to view the content, let's say you want to provide a web URL for others to see the content, then you can do that by going under the File tab at the top. So going all the way down to where we've got the Share option. And within the Share tab, you've got 2 options. So you can share with others. We are going to look at that. And there's also Publish to Web. So when you click Publish to Web, you're going to get the pop-up window that's going to allow you to make your content visible, publishing it to the web so that you can link to it and others can embed your content within their document. So we've got the link option here, so we can share either an entire document or we can select the sheets. And this is where when we're selecting the sheets, we can rename the sheets, and that will allow us to, if we have a lot of sheets, allow us to pick out the ones that we want to use. So if we want to just share a particular sheet, and in this case, that's what I want to do. So I'm sharing the data from sheet 1, and then we've got how we want to link it. So either a web page, a comma separated values, so a CSV file, tab separated values, a TSV file, or a document, so PDF document. So if we select document and we hit publish, and it will give us a little pop-up here that are we sure we want to publish this selection. And once we hit OK, it's going to present us with a URL that allows us to publish that URL, to share that URL with others. They're going to get a download link to download the PDF onto their computer. So make it really easy to share it within your Gmail, within your Facebook, or within Twitter. So you can share that document really easily and allow others to access the content of the document. So within the document, if you open up the PDF, and this is the PDF link that I've shared, so this provides you a PDF version of the contents of the spreadsheet. So it's really simple, and the content, the columns, the data is all there. So all of the available data on the sheet is going to get shared. So what happens if we want to share it as a CSV? So the same idea. So once we do the sharing as a CSV, we can copy the web URL. And in this case, instead of the content being output as a PDF, the output is going to be CSV. And we're going to get the same thing where we get a CSV file that we could download and open up on our computers. And also you can really easily share it within the email, Facebook, or Twitter. And the really nice option that I usually generally like to use is the web page. So what the web page does is this gives us, once again, a link that we can share. We can share it within our email, Facebook, and Twitter. But this time, whenever anyone goes to the link, they're going to see the data of our spreadsheet. So they can't actually interact with the data. This is going to be presented as a web page using this URL. So anyone with the URL can see the sheet content. And if I do go in and if I make any updates to the content, so let's say delete a column. So once it saves, and if I go out and if I refresh, so next time the person's reloading the link, they're going to have that new updated version of the content that I have in the spreadsheet. So this is one way that you can share the spreadsheet. In addition to sharing, when you do publish to the web, you have some publishing options. So you can do, whenever you don't want to publish it anymore, or you don't want to share it anymore, you can select stop publishing. Will unpublish your web URL. So now if anyone tries to go to that web URL that you had published, they're going to get a message like this that the document is not published. So once again, if you do want to share it, then you can either select entire document, select the publish, And there's also options here where you can publish content. So we're sharing it as the entire document or just the sheet itself. And if we want to publish it again, just hit the publish button and go through the same process. So that will get, once again, to get activated. And it is the same URL. So if you choose to unpublish it and then you want to republish it again, there's also at the bottom when we are within the pop-up where we've got the automatically republish when changes are made. So if you were to uncheck that, that's going to keep the document as is. So that will allow you to work with the contents within your spreadsheet, not have it updated within the publish format. There's also an embed option. So this is an iframed embedded option that you can use within HTML code to embed the contents of the spreadsheet in an iframe. So go ahead and try it out and create a link to publish your content to the web. I'm going to go ahead and stop publishing this within the share options. So we do have the share with others. So what this will do is this will allow you to share your document so others can actually open up the sheet document and access it. You can select who you want to share the content with within the add people and groups. So you can either add people or groups. It's going to give you a listing of the people that have access to it. So currently I'm the only one and I'm the owner, and it gives you the indication. You can also set different permission levels, such as viewer or editor. So you can select another user that's within your address book, or you can start typing their email address and that will automatically populate their name if they do have a Google account. So you can select in the right-hand side for this user, this group of users, that what permissions they're going to have. So either they're going to be a viewer, so that only allows them to view the document. They're going to have to go to the same web URL as you've got your sheet document at and be able to view it. As a commenter, so they can view, and then additionally they can make comments within the commenting option within the sheets, which I'm going to show you later on in the lessons. And then lastly, there's also editor. So editor gives them the full permissions to edit the content, update it, delete content from the sheet. So that's the one that you want to give if you trust the person, and of course if you want them to have the full permissions to be able to edit it. So select the permissions appropriately for the set of users. You also have an option to send a notification to that person. So if you do share the document, it will notify the person or the group of people that this document is now shared with them, sending a link within their email. And you also have an option to add in a custom message to let them know more about the share of the content. So this will give you a summary of what you're doing and the different shares. So what we've got with editors and what editors can do and viewers and commenters can do with the document content. So once you're ready, you're able to just click the share, and now by default, an email has gone out to the person that I'm sharing with. There's two ways to access that share screen within the spreadsheet. So you can go in the top right-hand corner, or you can go under the file and select the share with others. So now that we've shared it with one person, if I hover over the share button in the top right-hand corner, it's going to let me know that I've shared with one person. If I select that share, I'm going to see the other person that I've shared the content with, the permissions that I've given them. There's another option down here at the bottom, and this is who you can provide the link to. So right now the link is restricted. Only people added can open the link. And the link is going to be actually the same link that we've got here within our URL when we're opening up the spreadsheet. And the difference with spreadsheets is this part here where we've got the past the D/, and this is going to be a unique identifier for every spreadsheet is going to have a different set of characters here for the identifier of the sheet. And that's how the web URLs can distinguish the different sheet content. So that you can copy, or you can just take it from your web browser URL and share that link to the people that you've just shared the content with. If they are not within the shared people and groups, they're not going to be able to access the content. If you do want to make anyone have access, you do have an option down here under the get link where it's got, right now by default it's restricted, but if you select that, you can also select anyone with the link. So anyone with the link can view the content. You can also set this to commenter or editor as needed. So you can update these permissions as needed. And you can also always go back to restricted, and that way that will restrict who can access the content. So there's always just one owner to the content. And if you are the owner, you are able to switch permissions and allow others to become the owner of that document. So you've got the full control, and there's only one owner per document within Google Drive. So once you're happy with the share settings, and if you have shared it, if you ever need the link, you can really easily click that and copy the link for the document as needed. There's also another way to share it, and that's going into the drive and that you've got within the drive permissions. So within the drive, you can also select the user, and you can have the same options as we just did within the spreadsheet, where we can click the icon in the top right here for sharing, and that will give us the share pop-up. And that's the same share pop-up that we saw within the spreadsheet. Alternatively, as well, you can right-click it and select the share option, and that will once again give you that same share pop-up where you can share the file and select who has access to it. And if you ever do want to remove someone from having access to your shared document, as the owner, you have the full control. You're able to either remove the person, and there's also an option, if you are the owner, to transfer the ownership to others, and you can do that within the drive. Or you could change their permission level from viewer, commenter to and editor. And that is one of the nice things about Google Sheets, is that you're really easily able to collaborate and work together on documents and share that content as needed.